So yeah, Jensen's coming back from the dead, and now is going to come. Well, we see now that Eliza is still watching him,
Yeah.
and now we'll see him close his shades for the first time. Now he's closing on himself.
And he's closing. Exactly. That was the idea, right? That he's kind of now he doesn't really like what's happened to him, and he's a bit kind of
Self-conscious.
He's self-conscious and making a little shield around him from the world.
The eyes are the windows to the soul, but
The eyes
they
are the
cover
windows
them
to
up.
the soul.
Yeah, he protects
Exactly.
himself.
Yeah.
Adam, it's David. You in the building?
Just entered the lobby.
Sorry to pull you out of sick leave so soon, but we've got a situation. A break-in at our Milwaukee Junction factory. Meet me at the helipad.
I have to see Pritchard first. Something's wrong with my retinal enhancement.
Frank's on the second floor in the tech lab. Make it quick. People's lives are at stake.
Mika Pine, your car lights have been left on. Mika Pine, your car lights are on.
My God. Mr. Jensen, I didn't think you'd... Oh, wow. I guess you hear about the break-in. Did you need directions or something?
It hasn't been that long, Cindy. I may not look the same, but my memory's pretty intact.
Oh, I didn't mean... I mean, of course, your memory's fine, sir. It's just that well, things have been switched around a lot ever since the... Well, since the...
Ever since the first attack?
Yes, sir. The lab floors were pretty much demolished. We're rebuilding them, but most of our researchers are working off-site now. Everyone else has been shuffled around, so if you need help finding someone...
You said everyone's been moved around?
Almost everyone. Who were you looking for?
Has my office been moved?
No, sir. You still have that great view of the lobby. Mr. Pritchard wanted it, but Mrs. Margulis put a stop to that. Up 2 floors and make a right.
Thanks.
That's what I'm here for. Anything else, sir?
I'll find my way.
If you say so. It's good to have you back, sir.
No, but Jensen?
So with this one, the Final Fantasy poster, it was quite an adventure.
Yeah, that's one of the concept artists who had this idea, and he just he's like, it was not too long after we were bought by Square Enix, so he had the idea to do this little poster, and it's Final Fantasy 27, obviously,
Right,
because the
right.
game takes place in 2027, and he just put it like this for the fun of it, and it became something really, really big because we wanted to keep it. But, the way Square Enix works, they're very serious about the license and whatnot. So he actually went up all the way to Wada-san to be approved
And ask
That
him.
had
Yeah.
to
to leave there. And he actually had to show it to some of the artists and some of the art directors of the franchise so they could approve that it had something that had to do with the game. And what's funny as well is if you look at the poster, the head of the lady is hiding the numbers, and there's actually not enough space for the numbers if you actually try to imagine them there, which doesn't work, but whatever, it's
That
still
was fun.
there. Yeah.
Adam, how close are you to the helipad?
Almost there.
Good. Because SWAT's about to turn this into a PR nightmare. Meet me in the chopper. I'll brief you as we go.
You think the news is right? That a pro-human group is behind this, Mr. Cannon?
Read rumors, Devel. Sorry, sir. As if working so much wasn't bad enough.
So by now, depending on how much time you spend in the Serif offices, David Serif contact you a couple of times to tell you to go to the manufacturing plant.
Adam!
Yeah, exactly. And that thing, it was in the game for a while, like with the dialogue, depending
Yeah.
on how much time you were spending there or not, it was popping several times with different kind of variation in the conversation. Things are going to go much worse and everything. And I was reviewing the build in November
1992.
1992, in November 2010, and we were almost beta and everything. And I realized, oh my God, like, it's just smoke and mirror, and we don't
Yeah.
carry it through. Like
Yeah.
there's no real
There's no real
consequences.
consequence, yeah, exactly.
And it's a game about that, and I was, oh my god.
I think that's one of the best things in the game, really.
Yeah,
this
we're,
whole
and we're
situation.
missing the point.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I come back in the office and I go to David and Fussy, our producer, and say, "Man, we did a huge mistake, and now we're going in our first instance with the journalists, and we're totally fucked. Basically, we need to have a real consequence
Yeah.
to that thing, and said we need to re-record lines with."
And we basically need to kill the hostages
We
if you
need to
don't
kill
get
the
there in time.
hostages, exactly. We need to re-record lines, new lines for police officers, for David Sarifs, for Adam Jensen, for all those beautiful people. And he approved it, and I was so happy because, like, and then it
And
was
what
the quest for...
Yeah, and what was crazy about it was, first of all, we were so close to like almost having to ship the game that we'd released a lot of our actors. We'd already done all the recording, and Seraph himself. So we had to go through and we had to kind of indicate which actors would have to be brought back, how many lines they'd have, and then we had to find Steve Schellen.
Yeah, we found him somewhere on a, somewhere on a beach in Morocco doing something.
He was on
with
vacation,
someone.
He was on vacation.
Yeah, he was.
He'd been
he was out
wrapped.
there. Yeah, well, he was done. And I mean, anybody who knows Steve Schellen, very talented actor, but very much a free spirit.
How long it took you to get to him? To trace him back?
It wasn't that bad, actually, because I think he did leave information with his agent saying if anybody needs me. And so it was actually quite surprisingly quick, but then it was just the logistics of like, okay, I got to find a studio in Morocco that this guy can go to, and I have no way of specking out what their facility's like, what's it going to sound like, but somehow, through the magic of technology and that, we had our voice director here, we had Mary here, and we hooked up via Source Connect, which is a software that allows you to link up in real time and listen in the studio session. So we were able to do it that way. And I guess he showed up in Bermuda shorts with coconuts in hand, and he did it, and we got through it.
Yeah, and it was just a few days before the deadline, and Steve came to me, he's like, well, hopefully it's going to work, and the sound,
quality,
the quality is going to be there, otherwise we might not be able to use it, and we were super stressed. But it was a fun ride. Here we have a good example of show don't tell with this plate on the wall where we make this building feel much more important and bigger than what is actually playable.
And I remember the first version of it when I was playing it, the level artist had slapped up a sign, and it basically just had 3 floors to the whole building because that's really all you get to explore.
But when you're outside, it's humongous.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, guys, we got to have more in there. We got to have like more offices and more things to show this. So we ended up submitting a list to him, and some of the things we wanted didn't get in there. Like we wanted a cafeteria named the Swallow's Nest, named after one of the writers who worked with us. And then the whole part about this is all under construction, it ended up helping us to explain why you only go to a few floors, and yet also tie into the story.
So here's the VTOL, or the VTOL, Adam's chopper, or Farida's chopper. This is definitely one of the pieces of hardware that I really, really prefer in the game. I mean, one of my favorite ones. I think it's a perfect mix of really, really almost hardcore sci-fi design, yet with a lot of credibility to it, where you can easily imagine this is where things would go, in 20 or 30 years from now. I just really love it. I've always wanted to make a little, model of it, kind of like a scratch build with buying,
it looks really good.
It looks really good. Just buying pieces of model kits from airplanes and stuff like that, and just like from the pieces actually build that. And it has a lot of character, and that's it. I really like it.
And speaking of character, since the VTOL is also very much associated with Farida Malik, Farida was actually a character who was not originally thought to be a very important character in the game. I think it took a long time before we actually gave her a name. In fact, at first we were calling her Farina, but then everyone here was saying, Mary, that means wheat in French.
Flour.
And it's flour in French. It can't be that and everything. So,
yeah.
but she really wasn't intended to be this big character at all in the game. And then as we continued developing the game and writing the scripts and starting to add more player choice into dialogues, she ended up becoming And it makes sense when you think about it because she's one of your constant companions. So she ended up coming within the development process itself, developing into a very, very big character. And I think our original backstory for her was she was supposed to be of Muslim descent, and we originally wanted to have her use Arabic language and swear words and everything.
We tried it.
But then when we ended up casting the actress as 100% American.
Well, because here's the thing, what I remember is, and you had a strong affection for the character because it was based on a character in Battlestar Galactica. I think that, you were saying as a reference.
A little bit.
It was
like
Starbucks.
As a reference.
Yeah, as a reference, yeah.
So we had that, but then she's got to be Arabic. So we had found the actress and we loved what she brought, and she had that sort of tough, kind of tomboyish sort of way about her, and we really loved everything about it. But every time we would have dialogue where she'd have to swear in Arabic to kind of give her that, where she comes from, it just always sounded really forced. It just never worked. Like she would nail the pronunciation, but it's just, it's not natural.
We pretty much figured the first time that she did it, that was like, okay, we're dropping all that right now,
so
and we're just going with the American.
Yeah, Mary quickly adapted it. We kept the character. We kept her.
Christ, Adam, while you were strolling around the offices, the situation got worse. Meet me in the chopper, I'll explain.
So yeah, the cutscenes are pre-rendered, but originally we were planning them out to be totally in-game and everything. And as we were progressing and realizing what it would demand and the tools and everything that we didn't have set up properly and everything, we kind of realized that we would never ship the game like that. So we had to rely on the pre-rendered cutscenes.
There's a funny little thing here at the, if you notice when Jensen comes into the VTOL in the cutscene, he's wearing his jacket, and then when we start inside the plane, he's not wearing the jacket, and it was kind of a big problem where between cinematics and in-game they were saying, something fell through the cracks. So for audio to try and help that out at the end of the cutscene, you actually kind of hear a cloth rustle, and it's supposed to be Jensen taking his coat off and throwing his coat on the floor. To try and help sort of bridge the gap that, it was too late. We couldn't fix the cutscene, and we couldn't put the coat on him here. It didn't make sense, so that's kind of how we dealt with that.
And this is a pretty major scene with David Seraph. It's really the first time you ever get to meet him in person. And I remember the casting for David Seraph. We went through a lot of different ideas about what kind of person this should be. Should he be really corporate? Should he be this? And I remember we had a couple contenders, and when Steve Shellen came in, and the way he played it, it wasn't exactly what I was picturing in my head, but I remember going, wait a second, it's like, it totally works, because we wanted a very charismatic guy who's a very friendly guy, but we wanted a corporate CEO kind of guy. And I remember walking out of that casting session going, oh my goodness, what is going to happen? And I think the decision, we did it early enough in the process that the decision to cast him totally affected how we wrote that character from that point on.
Josie's still in there, and I'd hate to see any more of our people get caught in the crossfire.
Holding us up. Does he know that he cost his own people their lives? You're the Seraph security guy, right? The one we were delayed for? Hope you know those hostages are dead because of you and your boss.
So this is pretty funny. You guys have probably noticed already, or will notice, there's paint buckets lying around the entire game, and they're all kind of empty.
All over the place.
All
They're
over
all
the place.
gold.
Yeah, and they're all empty yellow or gold paint, if you want. And the joke behind that is because there's so much yellow, gold, and orange in the game.
Black and gold.
With the black and gold, obviously the 50% of the black and gold. Is the joke is that it's actually people in the world who actually, took up, paint buckets of yellow paints and painted the world that way. So it just became a little inside joke, and we started putting these buckets all over the place.
So now you know how the black and gold was made in the
Yeah,
first
it
place.
is not from us. It is from very, very advanced AI that started painting the game to their liking, really.
So as you continue playing the game, keep an eye out. You'll
Keep an
see
eye
how
out.
many
They're all
there are.
all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah.